He's Brent Barry, NBA TV analyst, and guy who's got a few championship rings as well. He joins us now. The most pain you've ever felt sports-wise, not physically, like just that it hurt as a fan or a player?
Well, good morning, Dan.
Hey, buddy.
And Shalomi homies. From most pain, probably I'm a big San Francisco Giants fan. I grew up in the Bay Area, but I'd have to say, as a kid, watching Kirk Gibson hit that home run against the A's was painful for me, like shockingly hurtful. Like I didn't know sports would really bother me that much. When I watched that Kirk Gibson home run, it just kind of took the life out of me.
How old were you?
Let's see, that was I think it was 15, 16.
Tears? Did you cry?
I did not cry, but I remember it just it just being a solemn moment, and then going to school the next day. I mean, you're a kid, but going to school the next day and having everybody this sort of glazed look on their face, like, did you see that? Did you see what happened? Not good.
A couple of things here. Bulls done?
Yeah, I think so, Dan. I mean, last night it's the first time I just have not seen the Bulls be able to punch back against Miami, and it's sort of I was trying to make some sort of analogy, which was terrible. Most of mine are, but I was thinking about if you went to go play a really hard golf course and you had made the turn after 9 holes, and let's say you were playing somewhere like Bethpage Black. Never played it myself, but it sounds hard. You get to the turn, you're at even par, and then your friend turns to you and reminds you, remember, you're a 15 handicap, and you're playing with rented clubs. And then you go out in the back 9 and you just absolutely implode. I think like the Bulls are at that stage where they got to realize who it is that they're playing. Miami seems to have found themselves each game. They seem to be making steady improvements as to how they're breaking down the Bulls. But, I mean, these guys have got to be exhausted. And when you say exhausted, it's not that they physically can't get up and go play basketball on that day. It's just that what's in front of you, you realize the talent that's in front of you is something that's just going to be really hard for you to overcome, and that's what the Heat represent to the Bulls right now.
Here's Rose not playing the entire season, and I said that I would worry about the mental aspect of this. I think that's really what's behind all of this is stepping on the floor and just trying to play. Now we're going to have the entire offseason here.
Right.
How bad does that help or make it worse for him coming back next season?
Well, I'm going to ask you this, Dan. Do you feel like maybe at some point Derrick Rose and people around Derrick Rose decided that he was just not going to play this season? You feel like he made that decision?
But why not announce it?
Well, that's the interesting point about it, and that's where I would tell you that the Bulls have really mishandled what it is that's been the Derrick Rose saga all during the year. I mean, I feel like Derrick Rose made a decision at some point where he was not going to play this year, and no matter what happened to the Bulls, he was not going to be part of this year's roster. And the argument that I'd make that is after the Bulls, after the All-Star break, since he did not play and was not going to be part of the rest of the season and the postseason for Chicago, is that the further that the Bulls go or have gone during the year, the line that could be used is Derrick Rose could say, look how great we're playing. I don't want to disrupt what it is we're doing. Now, if the Bulls got into a desperate situation and needed his services, he could use I'm not going to play at the most intense part of the year to jeopardize, next year and beyond for my career. So I think he was caught between a rock and a hard place. The tough thing to hear was out of Chicago, you were hearing Derrick Rose is the best player in practice. Derrick Rose has no restrictions. We love the way he's looking, and then you get the carrot dangled in front of you with the Derrick Rose warm-up shots, which we're all growing so familiar with.
But is there something behind the scenes with the whole B.J. Armstrong got passed over for the GM job? You got Derrick Rose's brother never short on comments that they didn't do anything at the trade deadline. I mean, I'm trying to just look at it as Derrick Rose trying to overcome a mental hurdle to get out there. I'd hate to think that there's politics behind all of this here.
I would too. That makes it sound really juicy, and especially given the track record of what Derrick Rose has been about for the Chicago Bulls, and winning the MVP award, we saw how emotional he was during that award ceremony. We've heard Coach Thibodeau and every teammate talk about how basketball is his life and basketball is what he breathes. And the coming back from this injury, that he was going to come back better and stronger. There's nothing in his past that I would say warrants that kind of discussion. I'm on the side of, Derrick Rose not playing is fine by me. If next year, he's fully healthy, and by the sounds of it, he will be. I don't get too upset, or I don't like the vitriol coming from a lot of the Chicago fan base saying he should be in there and he should be giving it to us. And I look at Shumpert. Shumpert got injured the same day and has been nowhere near the same player. He's actually struggling with the knee injury right now in the series against Indiana. It's been bothering him the whole time that he's come back. And so I look at him and I look at Derrick Rose and trying to get back at the most intense part of the season. It just seems unlikely and unneeded for him to do so.
He's Brent Barry, NBA TV analyst. All right, a couple of quick topics here to get to. You got Tyson Chandler now talking about how Carmelo chokes the offense. Did somebody just wake up and realize how Carmelo plays? And if you're going to, what does he do differently, if anything, in this series going into tonight's game? Can he?
Well, I think he can do some things differently, Dan. I think there are many times, and I've watched several of the games closely in terms of the possessions and the way that New York's trying to break down the Indiana defense. And when you have a bunch of long, lengthy guys that can cover a lot of ground, the only way that you can do anything is to move them around. And when you penetrate the basketball, it gives every defender on the perimeter and on the interior time to react to the movement because it's slow. Dribbling the ball is slow. And when Paul George is on you and he makes it difficult for you to get around or have a direct line to the basket, it's more time for the Pacer defense to react. And what I'm getting to is that Melo has had several possessions, well over 30 possessions, where he's in the lane and there's at least 3 Pacer defenders that have 2 feet in the paint. And when you get to that position, it's not time to try to find a way to get into your shooting window. It's time to create another shot for somebody on the perimeter. And New York has played their best with ball movement. They've become stagnant in this series again with the basketball. And Melo has been, playing that way for really the entire playoffs. He played like that against the Boston Celtics. He's not broken out of it against the Indiana Pacers.
But when's a shooter stop shooting, Brent?
A scorer does not stop making aggressive plays to get points on the board.
I know you can say, well, who does he throw to? I just don't like it when he feels the need. That I think he would get better shots if the ball moved a little bit more. He's still going to put up. I need him to put up 25 shots.
Yeah, I agree with that, Dan. But the quality of shots is what I'm concerned with.
Yes, exactly.
Let's move the ball. Let's not take the first time that we give Carmelo Anthony the ball at 17 feet in the offense with 16 seconds on the shot clock if we're pushing the ball up the floor. Let's wait till we get the ball moves side to side, make the defense shift a little bit, and then Melo on the move where the defense has to catch him. Let's have more opportunities like that. We're not saying, Melo, don't shoot to 25 shots. Let's just get you those shots in a variety of ways rather than predictable ways. It's been too predictable.
Music suggestion before we say goodbye?
I did attend last weekend. I got a chance to have breakfast with my mother in Napa.
Whoa. I got something on the way?
What's that?
Wait, your warm-up pants from the Slam Dunk Contest.
Those are at my house, Dan, not at my mom's place.
Oh,
I'm not the crazy uncle that still lives at home with the mom.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
I went to the Bottle Rocket Festival in Napa and saw my good friend Jeff Ament, who's the bass player for Pearl Jam, play in his new band RNDM, which is kind of a fun throwback punk band. So I'll give a shout out to Jeff and RNDM.
All right, that's cool. And eventually you'll get to
I will get
Los
there
Angeles.
After the finals are over, Dan, and I get back to that place. I will dig through the boxes and I will find you the ripaways.
All right, that'd be nice. All right, thanks for joining us.
You guys have a great day.
All right, Brent. Thank you. Brent Barry, NBA TV.